NEC's big dream for the future of gaming. In the early 1990s, NEC had earned a place in gaming history thanks to the PC Engine, known in the West as the TurboGrafx 16. It was especially successful in Japan, competing well against Nintendo's Famicom and Sega's Mega Drive. Encouraged by that success, NEC believed they could push gaming in a bold new direction. Their vision for the PCFX was ambitious. Instead of focusing on the fast-growing trend of polygon-based 3D games, NEC bet on what they thought would be the future of entertainment: interactive, anime-style storytelling. At the time, Japanese animation was exploding in popularity, with hits like Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon dominating TV. NEC believed gamers would be eager for full anime cutscenes with voice acting and music integrated into their games. This was an interesting idea, but it locked NEC into a path that would clash with what most gamers were starting to want: immersive, explorable 3D worlds. The odd tower design. The console's physical appearance was just as unusual as its software focus. While most consoles of the mid-1990s were horizontal boxes designed to sit neatly under a television, the PCFX looked like a small PC tower. NEC chose this design to symbolize that the console was forward-looking and had PC-like power. Unfortunately, this design decision was mostly cosmetic and came at a cost. Gamers were used to stacking consoles with their VCRs, CD players, and other home electronics. The vertical tower felt out of place in most living rooms. Some owners even reported that its upright shape made it prone to tipping if accidentally bumped. While it didn't ruin the console on its own, the tower design became one more reason that the PCFX felt odd compared to its competitors. A console built for 2D animation, not 3D. D-Worlds under the hood, the PCFX hardware reflected NEC's core gamble. It had strong capabilities for handling 2D graphics and full-motion video sequences, which made it perfect for anime cutscenes. Developers could make games that looked like playable cartoons, something that was impressive on paper. However, the console lacked a dedicated 3D graphics processor. By the time it launched in late 1994, the PlayStation was already dazzling gamers with Ridge Racer's smooth 3D racing tracks, while Sega's Saturn showcased polygon-based fighters like Virtua Fighter. Compared to these titles, the PCFX's library felt dated. The decision to focus on video playback rather than 3D interactivity turned what could have been a competitive system into something that looked like it belonged to the previous generation. The launch that missed the mark. The PCFX launched exclusively in Japan in December 1994 at about 49,800 yen, which translated to roughly $500 at the time. That price tag was higher than the PlayStation and Saturn, making it a tough sell from day one. Worse, the launch lineup lacked attention-grabbing titles. While the PlayStation had Ridge Racer and Battle Arena Toshinden showing off fluid 3D graphics, the PCFX mostly offered visual novels and story-driven games that didn't demonstrate next-gen gameplay. This made early adopters hesitate, especially since buying the console meant missing out on the blockbuster games being hyped on rival platforms. The fact that NEC never released the PCFX outside Japan further limited its potential audience. The company hoped to dominate at home first, but without international sales, it lacked the momentum needed to compete. A library dominated by anime visual novels. If there's one thing the PCFX is remembered for, it's its library of anime-focused games. Many of these titles were essentially visual novels with occasional light gameplay elements. Examples include Farland Story FX and Blue Breaker. While these games appealed to a niche group of players who loved anime and storytelling, they didn't offer the kind of interactive, skill-based fun that most gamers wanted at the time. As a result, the PCFX quickly earned a reputation as a story machine rather than a true gaming console. In an era when players were excited about 3D platformers, fighting games, and racing titles, the PCFX's offerings felt limited and even old-fashioned. The 3D revolution past it by the mid-1990s marked a historic shift in the gaming world. For the first time, affordable home consoles could deliver 3D environments that felt immersive and dynamic. Players were captivated by moving freely in space, exploring levels in 3 dimensions, and fighting polygonal enemies. NEC's bet on 2D animation, which might have been visionary in another context, instead looked outdated. Games on the PlayStation and Saturn weren't just prettier, They offered entirely new gameplay experiences. Players could drift around corners in Ridge Racer, throw punches in Tekken, or explore futuristic cities in Panzer Dragoon. Against that backdrop, the PCFX's animated cutscenes felt like something you watched rather than played. Marketing missteps and a confused identity. A console can survive technical shortcomings if it's marketed well and if it has a clear identity. Unfortunately, the PCFX suffered from both poor marketing and an unclear message. NEC emphasized the system's anime cutscenes as its selling point. This might have resonated with hardcore fans of Japanese animation, but it did nothing to attract the mainstream audience that wanted exciting gameplay. Many consumers weren't even sure what kind of games the PCFX offered. Meanwhile, Sony's PlayStation was marketed as the future of gaming, with TV ads showing intense 3D action and cool, edgy branding. NEC's focus on interactive anime felt niche and old-fashioned by comparison. Fierce competition from Giant's timing is everything in the gaming industry, and unfortunately for NEC, they launched the PCFX into one of the most competitive periods in console history. Sony's PlayStation was rapidly becoming the dominant platform thanks to its large library, affordable price, and strong developer support. Sega's Saturn was performing well in Japan and had built trust with players who loved arcade-style games. Nintendo's upcoming N64 was generating huge anticipation for its 3D worlds. Against these powerful rivals, NEC's console simply couldn't stand out. Developers flocked to the platforms with the biggest audiences, leaving the PCFX with few notable third-party titles. Lack of third-party support. A healthy console needs strong third-party support to thrive. Unfortunately, the PCFX's hardware focus on 2D animation and its limited sales made it unattractive to most developers. Popular franchises like Final Fantasy, Street Fighter, and Resident Evil skipped the PCFX entirely, focusing instead on PlayStation and Saturn. This meant that gamers who bought the PCFX were missing out on the most talked about releases of the era. Without major exclusives or genre-defining hits, the PCFX struggled to convince anyone to buy it over the competition. A short-lived, life and quiet exit. The PCFX's commercial life was brief. It sold fewer than 400,000 units over about 4 years, a tiny fraction compared to the tens of millions achieved by the PlayStation. By 1998, NEC stopped supporting the console and effectively bowed out of the home gaming market. What was once a promising contender with the PC Engine/TurboGrafx series became a cautionary tale about misreading industry trends. Lessons from the PCFX's failure. The story of the PCFX highlights several key lessons for the gaming industry. A console's success depends not just on technical specs, but also on understanding where the market is headed. NEC focused on what they thought was the future, anime-style storytelling, while ignoring the rising wave of 3D interactivity. It also shows the importance of a strong game library, clear marketing, and competitive pricing. Without those factors, even an innovative idea can fail to gain traction. The PCFX remains a reminder that in gaming, timing and adaptability often matter more than raw ambition.